All right. I'm here for a short time, hopefully a good time, if you know what I mean. Not a whole lot, just like a short pump and dump. I got to keep this to less than an hour or thereabouts, pretty close. And I'm going to actually set an alarm on my phone because I have things to do. And you guys have, honestly, I don't know what you're doing. If you're tuning into a live stream, are you not working? What are you doing? What are you doing watching? Uh, what are you doing watching this anyway? Anyway, welcome. Whoever is showing up, welcome to the live stream. We're going to talk about just a couple things. I'm going to answer some questions, all that kind of stuff. Let me just make sure we're good to go on this live stream. We're going to talk about just a couple things. There we are. There we are. Welcome everybody who is tuning in. And okay, so I just wanted to go over a couple things here. And most of you will probably watch this video after it's posted. I see we got a dozen or so people. Welcome. I'm going to go over a couple things. We're going to do some fun things today. At first, I think every once in a while what I'm going to do, hey, Mustang, hey, Prod by Expensive. Welcome, guys. Hey, Silverliner. Okay, so one of the things I want to do every once in a while, I think this is kind of fun, we'll just read some comments that are posted on the channel. So I had posted this video, I don't know, a month or so ago. This is talking about alt season, a bunch of stuff. So this just came in today. So from Catch 3119, there's a very astute comment. I'm just going to read it here. It says, "Stop wasting your time on this and money on these BS crypto ETFs. Please stop. Just stop. You guys are going to wait and 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 wait for them to pop off. You're better off putting your hard-earned money into dividend ETFs and invest long term." Okay, I'll just show you in a minute. This guy is a load of crap trying to hype these BS stocks while every little guy tries to scrap what little they have to help him pump. Stop eating into this "I'm not a financial advisor" BS. So just, there you go. I've been exposed by Catch 3119. There you go. There you go. I'm like Illuminati. I'm like a patsy. I'm just pumping these things. I actually work for Grayscale. You probably didn't know that. I work for Grayscale. Or I'm on the Bitcoin Cash or Litecoin team. You'll never know. You'll find out afterwards, I suppose. All right, so that's a fun comment. There are others. I think I'll try to cover comments that are funny, because these are going to be funny in hindsight. Like, I've gotten comments on videos in the past, like, the premiums are gone forever. The premium play is gone forever. The trusts are dead. They're never going to pop. Nothing's ever going to happen. And I just like want to save those and screenshot those, because it's like I want to hang them on the wall, for when we are in the midst of the bull run and things are popping off, because it'll be a lot of fun, I think. They say in investing, especially in crypto investing, that everybody gets the return that they deserve. They get the return that they deserve, and it's true. So there are a lot of people that probably saw an opportunity in Grayscale, but then they capitulated. If you don't know what that term means, they changed their mind. They got sourpuss attitude and they sold out, or they got really negative, and maybe they're still holding shares. I don't know, but a lot of them probably sold out, and because they're like, this isn't going anywhere. And then probably a lot of those same people will see the hopefully meteoric rise of crypto, and they'll be like, oh shit, it's time for me to get in. They'll probably get back in when it's FOMO time. So I expect to see them back, and I expect them to say things like, I lost a lot of money in Grayscale. You made me lose a lot of money in Grayscale, Ethan. That's what they're going to say. Because they FOMO'd in at the wrong time, and then they sold at the wrong time. Like, they bought high, sold low. They incurred a loss. None of us wants to do that. At some point or another, probably most of us have done that. It's just part of the investing journey that we all go through. But it is true. Like, everybody gets the return that they deserve. Everybody gets the outcome in life that they deserve too, because broadly speaking, somebody's success in life isn't so much determined by what they were given in terms of money or an education or home environment or any of that. It's more based on their mindset, and their mindset drives them in life. Your mindset will determine, if for the most part, whether you are successful in any area, in relationships, finance, whatever. Your mindset is like the master key, that if you're not in control of your mindset, yeah, it's not going to work out. For example, like, I have tried to help people in person that I know who don't have a whole lot of money, like, are close to living paycheck by paycheck. I can't talk right now, or they don't have a whole lot. And I've tried to help them. I'm like, check out some of these investments. Like these could look at what they've done. They could do really well. And when I try to help them or even explain things, they look at me like I'm some type of scammer. And they don't want to engage, and even if they do a little bit, they never take any action. So I'm kind of done trying to help people in person. I figured I'd just take my the words I have to YouTube, and whoever finds them and vibes with them, they'll win. And the people, this is why I have a problem actually in society with there's this battle, there's this class warfare, like the haves versus the have-nots, the rich versus the poor. It's like, yeah, nobody wants to see that, but I guess like if you don't have money, you got a couple options available to you. One, you can just wallow in your pity and just live a subpar life in poverty and have to work for the rest of your life as long as you possibly can and then scrape by on Social Security. Or you can say, okay, well, I would like to have more than what I have right now. What have people who have gotten to a better place financially, what have they done? What steps have they taken? What have they invested in? What's their mindset like? And then try to replicate what they've done in some manner to better yourself. Very few people actually take that. There's the reason why in this world we have what is called the 1%. I hope you all get there. After this bull run, maybe you're already there. I think a lot of you will be able to get there after this bull run, even if you can't, like maybe, because we got a lot of people across all age groups and probably across all financial situations. Maybe you didn't put a whole lot in. Maybe you only have like $1,000 in to Grayscale. Still think you can do well. It's like you understand the magnification of money that can come from a crypto bull run, whether you're in Grayscale or a crypto derivative or crypto related stock like Coinbase or MicroStrategy, or you're in native crypto itself. You understand the asymmetric risk and reward of crypto. So no matter how much or how little you put in, you'll still see hopefully a very good return on that. Hey, Retired on Dividends. Retired on Dividends is in the house. Austin Red Sox, welcome back. Paul, welcome. So it's like so we all get the returns that we deserve. We do. This guy's comment, Catch3119, says you're better off putting your hard-earned money into dividend ETFs and invest long-term. I talked about this last night. I'll just go over this really quickly. I'll give you a couple examples. I know there are better looking ETFs. I'm just going to show you some of them. I don't like them. I don't want to reinvest money into something like Clip. Clip is Chinese-made shit. It is a machine that basically takes your hard-earned money and destroys it. That's what it is. It eats your money. It's pretty clear to see. And I do not want to. I think it's a very bad idea, in my opinion. Not financial advice. Do whatever the hell you want. But I do not want to take good money, my own good money, from that I've earned from my business or my job, to put it into this. And I certainly do not want to take the money that I get out of this in terms of distributions or dividends and put it back into the machine that is actively working to subvert my wealth. That's what I feel like. That's what it looks like. Same story with I'm cherry picking. There are better ones. I'll show you a better one that I was hoping would work out, because I was like, God, some of these high yield ETFs have to be okay. I'm praying to God I find one. But this is the Defiance IWMY fund. Same thing. It's a machine that destroys your wealth. And I did the calculations for myself, and I'm the highest tax bracket in a taxable account. I'm not making any money. Defiance is, the IRS is, but I'm not. So I'm not in this thing. I was hoping that the Rex Shares ETFs would work out. This is FEPI and AIPI in particular. Because I was looking at them, I was watching them, because I'm like, I'm not going to get into any high yield dividend ETFs unless I at least see 6 months of a chart that looks like NAV can be maintained. It's got to maintain it. Or else like it has to spin off such insane dividends that it makes it worth it. Because I have to look at net returns, not gross. Gross is great, but I got to pay taxes. So I'm looking at net returns from dividends. And then I have to compare that to what did I lose or potentially gain, but what did I lose more likely in regards to NAV, because I'm looking to grow my wealth overall. So this is what disappointed me in FEPI. So up until this point, I was like, okay, well, maybe FEPI's okay. FEPI, I think, is around like 25% yield per year. And I was like, okay, well, it's far less yield than, Tesla or Coney or Misty or stuff like that. So maybe it's a little safer in the way they're doing their trading. So I'm like, well, okay, maybe this would be a play. And then, it doesn't take a whole lot to basically trash my dreams. So if we're just saying like I don't know, your cost basis would be different. Let's just say you had a cost basis of like 50, right? And you're getting, let's say you're getting 25% annual yield on this thing in a tax-free account. Like let's first take that example, like in an IRA, right? So you got a cost basis, let's say of 50, and it just dropped down. Let's say it's hanging around 40 now. So that is like let's say it's new bottom. I don't know. I can't see the future of the chart, right? But let's just say it ends up there. We've experienced like a 20% drop. So in an IRA, if I have over the course of a year, I've achieved 25% and return, like a gain of 25% in terms of distributions, but I've lost 20% in NAV, I really only have a net gain of 5%. That's not very impressive. I would be far better off actually putting my money into SCHD as in dividend or SCHG as in growth, because my wealth would actually grow. SCHG, I think it's been a long time since I've been in there, but you get growth out of there, and I think it spits off like a 3% dividend or something like that. It's paid quarterly. Let me just bring up the SCHD chart, and let's just take a look at it. Let's take a look at the 1 year. So I mean, everything took a pounding right here. So we're basically back to where we were, like no growth in the past year. Let's take a look at a 5-year. So in a 5 year, it's up 50%. And this might be an unnatural run up, so you might not count on this happening all the time. You got to kind of like pick and choose, like, yeah, you're growing a little bit, but not maybe to the extremes that we did between 2020 and 21, because this is COVID recovery time. So I don't know that we'd have this type of growth, I don't know, over time, but I feel like SCHD would be better than sticking it in FEPI, for example, just from my perspective. In a taxable account, it's worse. Like I said, like in a Roth tax-free situation, if I'm getting 25% per year and I drop 20% in NAV, well, my net return is 5%. But in a taxable situation, it gets worse, because if I'm getting a 25% gross yield per year, I'm personally taking home about half of that, because half of it's going off to the IRS and the state. So let's say I got 12%, and then it drops 20% in NAV. I'm down. My wealth is down 8%. That's not cool. I don't like that. I'll be watching FEPI to see if it can recover. I haven't looked at AIPI and all. Let me just pop there and let's just see what it looks like. Same thing, and this could be in part due to the recent stuff, but I was looking at here, like what happened here at the end of February, and this is before all the tariff shit. So we started to take a dive right here and form a new normal, as it were, potentially in AIPI. So I looked at this and I did the calculation. I think AIPI is maybe spitting off like 35%. Rex shares. Let's see, AIPI. What are they saying right now? Yeah, it's like 35%. Assuming that stays a stable yield. So I'm still looking for high yield, because I'm like, it's got to be out there. I feel like it's got to be out there somewhere. And some ETFs from YieldMax are still looking okay, I think. It's been a while since I looked at them, but they're clearly ones that I just don't want to get into. It just doesn't make sense for me. All right, so I want to cover a couple things here. Retiring dividends is that AI Ethan in the background. So that is a virtual background. I took a screenshot of... it was a video shoot I did on the history of my company. I'm just using that as my background. But yeah, I've got a double behind me watching my back. Silver Liner says, "Hey Ethan, do you like Cornerstone funds?" I haven't invested in them. So like the guy who does this is the CLM stuff, right? Isn't CLM the Cornerstone? I think so. And that's like Todd on what's his channel called? I was watching him for a while, and then I was like, okay, I don't want to watch this anymore. It's like he was always pushing his e-guides. But no, I'm not in CLM. Daniel says curve funds are the answer. Let's take a look at curve. I don't even know if I looked at, if curve is a good option, cool. But I don't trust these things. Like I need to see like a long-term. I almost feel like I need to see a year-long, so TSLP, AMZP, let's just take a look at these things. I don't know how long these things have been out. I haven't been watching it. TSLP stock. Let's see what this thing's doing. So, I mean, yeah, if you're DCAing in here, let's just pretend that your cost basis is on average like 25, right? It's above and below. Let's say it's 25. And now we're sitting at, under 20. But let's just say we, come back up a little bit. Let's say cost basis is 25, now you're down to 20. If it stays down here, I don't know. I need to see a longer chart than this. I do not trust this shit. I really don't. Because the problem with, I don't know how curve compares to yield max in terms of like how they do the trading, what the downside is compared to. So the problem with the yield max is you capture all the downside movement of the underlying stock, and you only capture a portion of the upside, and the amount that you capture on the upside isn't fixed. Like it's dependent upon like the trading, and I'm not the expert. Like somebody like Retire on Dividends is the expert on that stuff. But I just remember when I was in Coney, and I think my cost basis was around 22, and then it pumped to almost 30, and then it dropped to like 19, and that's when people commented, they're like, "Why is Coney dropping?" And I looked at it, and I compared the price action of Coney with the price action of the underlying Coinbase stock, and I did some calculations, and I was like, well, yeah, we are capturing 100% of the downside, and I calculated like what percentage of the upside we were capturing, which I'm sure varies all the time. It's not fixed, per ETF. Again, it's based on trading, but I was like, yeah, that's where I didn't like the equation. I didn't like the equation, and I decided to get out, and I'm like, you know what, I don't know what to do. I want to get the hell out. So I dumped it all into Grayscale because I'm like, a better return. So this is Coney. So I got in heavy right when it came out, and I added more later. So I think my cost basis was like $22. And this is where it got close to 30 or $29. And then when it came down here, this is when people were like, what the hell happened? And this is around when I got out, because it was like I got out of all yield max stuff. It was in January. I'm thinking it was like mid-January of last year. It's been a while, but it was right in here that I got out. And now we see, the decline of this. And this is, this is the problem with it. Like, even though it's spitting out income, like when I do the calculations, like, I don't know. I don't know what Coney is paying right now. Let's just say, just for an example, that Coney on average sustains a 100% yield per year. Okay, 100%. So I'm in the highest tax bracket. 50% essentially of that goes off in taxes. So my net return from Coney after taxes is 50% per year. Okay, so let's say I was still in Coney. My cost basis, I didn't add anything more. Cost basis was $22. All right, I am now down to, I've lost 2/3 of my portfolio value, and in that time, so that's the course of like a little over a year and a half. I'm probably like at a break even. So if after taxes, if I'm able to capture 50% net yield per year, and this is a little bit over a year and a half, we're probably looking at like 75 to 80%, of my initial investment into Coney. I'm basically at a break even point with my wealth overall. I'd have to sit down and do a real calculate, but I'm pretty close. You see, this is why I look at these things and I'm like, I don't want to be in them. And I'm going to put out like a warning video as we get to a point where I think Bitcoin could correct, and we're starting to go warning Misty and Coney like investors to really consider their positions, because Coinbase and MicroStrategy are gonna crash. I mean, they're gonna crash big time, like 60%, 70%, 80%. And if you are in Misty or Coney, there are a bunch of people that they aren't probably gonna be familiar with the crypto markets. They're gonna get wrecked because they're not gonna sell. And even when I put videos out like that, like I will get criticism. People like, you don't know what you're talking about. This thing spins up money. That's all I care about. I don't care about NAV erosion. It's like, okay, I think that's really short-sighted. Like, that's fine if you want to do that. If you want to hold on to, and you want to experience like a 60 to 90% drop from wherever Coney and Misty sits at that point, go for it. But I certainly wouldn't want, and I just want, if I've got time and I remember to do this, I'll put out a video and just give people my viewpoint on what I think might happen to Coney and Misty, because I don't want to see people get wrecked. Silver Liner said, so So yeah, it was unconventional wealth. So that's Todd's channel. He covers Cornerstone a lot. So if you're interested in CLM, which I think that's the Cornerstone thing, I've never invested in it, but I have watched his videos. And they're the one where you can drip at NAV. I think that's one of the big. That's why he likes them, from what I remember. Civil Line also said everything's been taking a dump lately. Why am I is my face hidden? Let me change this because you want to see my face, obviously. Everything has been taking a dump lately. Been doing vanilla GDXY. So that is GDXY. Isn't that the gold miners ETF? I think it is GDXY from Yield Max. Yeah, it is. So yeah, I mean this is like so recently, like in the past like 5 months, relatively stable NAV. If you were in it here, see, this is what I don't like. This is my problem with it, and with just the way these covered call funds work. Is that I think that the new baseline, even if you consider this like back here, like May of 24 to October to be like a floor, like that's your base, and you're maintaining a relatively stable NAV. All it takes is like one thing to come around in the market in the underlying, and it knocks you down to a new level, which let's just say on average that's around 15 and a half. Right, that if your floor up here was 18 and a half, 19 or 18 and a half maybe, let's say, and you got dropped to let's say 15 and a half, is your average like new baseline floor where you're at. That is what that's like a 15, probably like a 17% drop or something in your it's gonna be about that. It's gonna be close to what's being displayed here. This 15% is from first price to last price, so it's a little bit. I think it would be a little bit more closer to 17%. So then you got to look at what is the GDXY yield, and you got to, if you're in a taxable account, you need to take into account taxes and like what your net yield is. So dividend, like what are we throwing off here? Yield Max should have it on their site. So 53%. So like if I'm in there, like I get half of that. So let's say I get 27% maybe net after taxes, assuming it's not return capital. But I've said this before, like return to capital, the dividends or distributions are tax free, but you do get hit with a delayed tax when it comes time to sell these ETFs, because your cost basis is reduced by essentially the distributions that you receive. So there's kind of like a hidden tax that you would eventually pay when it comes time to sell if you're in a taxable account. But in this case, like it's thrown off like net for me. If this were to remain stable, I get half of that, so like say 27% per year. It's dropped, let's say 17%. So my net yield is still 10%. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. You're still in the positive, even a taxable account. But it's still, these things are dangerous. Like if I look at a 10% growth in my wealth, then I might as well just go for a safer, stupider option and stick it in like an index fund like VOO or VGT or SCHG. Because I mean, even with the correction here, it's like this is over the past 5 years, you got over, on average, let's cut that down, like 25% growth per year. That's pretty crazy. Well, it wouldn't be that, actually. It wouldn't be 25% per year. I think per year, it was like 15% when I was looking at it prior to this correction. Like 15%, I think, is what we were recently getting in VGT. So VGT actually outperforms something like GDXY, in my opinion, and it's safer. It's still obviously subject to the market. And you get the same thing in other index funds. They're boring, right? They're boring. They're not exciting. You don't get the dopamine hit that you get from being in a dividend ETF and getting the distribution, right? You don't get that because it's how do I move this? Get me out of move me. There we go. Move me. Okay, so you don't get the dopamine hit that you get with a monthly distribution out of a high yield ETF. That's for sure. Dan Inspiration says just bought more LTC and BCH yesterday and today. Not scared. Keep buying. Yeah, I'm still buying crypto. I'm fully loaded on Grayscale. So I've just been making my investments into native crypto. I think I said this in another video. Going into Stellar primarily right now, and Cookie DAO, which is an AI token that Caesar has talked about. I think the AI tokens are going to do pretty well, and then a little bit of Toshi, which is a meme coin I hadn't been in before. So. Yeah, and thanks for doing videos, Dan, because you've got a channel where you talk about Grayscale and stuff. I've seen that. Nice job. Yeah, XDad says best time to VTI, but I'm broke. Grayscale profits will load up on VT and the Roth. Yeah, using the rotation to load up in Biddy. Hopefully the timing works out. So so Biddy, if you don't know what that is one of the Bitcoin miners. So and it's pretty. No, actually, no. I'm thinking BTBT. I'm sorry, not Biddy. Biddy is the short. So it's like, so this is like, we're really lucky now. Like I mean, after the crypto run, like in my main portfolio, I will kind of de-risk a little bit. Like I'm basically full crypto right now. But after this bull run, I will de-risk, and probably 50% of my main portfolio will go into boring stuff like index funds, probably. And the rest, I'll put into crypto assets, whether it's Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, etc. in the next bull run. But when we reach the peak of things in this bull run with Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, we're lucky because now we didn't have this last cycle. Now we have inverse ETFs for those things. So we have inverse Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum, Coinbase, and MicroStrategy. And so you can make money on the way down. And it's pretty clear that you can make money on the way down. So we are blessed to have these things. And I think these things will perform better than index funds in, no, I'm not looking. Why did I search for Grayscale? So I'm looking for MSTR. If we look at this, so it's like, we're going to not take into consideration this early pump back here. This is way back. This is before they got into Bitcoin. So who cares? The only reason they pump now, like I said the other night, is because of Bitcoin being on their balance sheet. Nobody gives a crap about their technology company. Nobody cares. It's about Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So last cycle, let's say they're going from like $14 up to, I'm not going to try to catch the high. Let's say if you were to catch a nice average of 72, what is that? Like, that's like a 5X. So pretty good. This time around, they've done way better. So if you were to have gotten in the bear market and let's say you paid like an average of like $20 a piece, you're doing pretty good. Even right now, that's like 13X or more off of where we are right now. And if you took profit when we were up here, you're doing really good, because it's like we hit, a little over $400. Now, as I've said before, there are projections, not guarantees, obviously, that MicroStrategy could get into, and actually Paul asked this, thoughts on MSTR. So I'm not a TA guy, I'm not a prediction guy, right? But I just listen to what other people say. And a lot of people think that MicroStrategy could make it up to $1,000 a share. So from here, that's almost a 4X. If that does happen, it could be the peak, and it could be very difficult to try to sell your shares there. So I wouldn't count on it. But I would say, like, if you're just like kind of like checking in every once in a while, you want to sell some MicroStrategy off as we move into alt season, because alt season is really, I think, when MicroStrategy and Coinbase really are going to see good heights. It's during those times. I think that's where we're going to see it. And we saw this in the Bitcoin miners. Like, people say that they're correlated to Bitcoin. I don't think that's true. If you look at the price action, it's not true. They're not really correlated to the price of Bitcoin. They are instead correlated to the price action of the overall altcoin market. And that, because it's when I'll show this in a second, they ignited at the same time the altcoins did, right? Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, but the bulk of the altcoins, that's when they lit up. But so MicroStrategy, I mean, like, you could probably a 2X at least from here is probably pretty feasible. Maybe even a 4X, maybe more. I don't know. But that's probably what's going to happen. This is one of the things I'm going to get into next bear market. I'm not going to get into it here because from here it's only like a 2x, maybe up to a 4x. And so it's still good for sure. I think it's still a good investment. Yeah. Now let me just take a look at Coinbase really quick. And this is why like, so people in Misty, they're going to get wrecked. So last cycle we hit a high of around, let's just say $70, and I went down to like, let's just say 20, right? That's just like over like a 2/3 drop, over a 60% drop. This time, this cycle, it's arching its back a lot more. It's doing a moonshot more than it did last time, or to greater heights. And I feel like it will crash correct by 60, 70, potentially 80% from whatever height it reaches. So if it reaches a height of $1,000, we might see a bear market floor. Maybe it'll fall to $200 or 100 even. You know, because that'll still be above the floor. The floor prior to last cycle was around, 10, $14, right? This cycle, anywhere from 14 to 20, 30. You know, so we doubled essentially the height of the floor, if you know what I'm talking about. So I think we're going to do more than that. It's going to crash big time. And people in Misty, if they haven't gotten out, they could get absolutely crushed. Coinbase. And then we're going to go to the Bitcoin miners. And because I talked about these for rotation, I'm going to show you when they move. And I think they could be a good option to get into. So we didn't capture, Coinbase was not, it wasn't public until after the altcoin run started last cycle. So we were already in the thick of things back here. And if you averaged in over the crypto winter bear market, you're picking it up for like, let's just say $60, $70, $60. So even right now, you're sitting at almost a 3x. And if you had taken profit up here, well, you would have done much better. It's hitting a 5x, so that's good. And also front runs the Grayscale Trust. So next cycle, I'm going to get into MicroStrategy, Coinbase, Bitcoin, stuff like that. But the other one I'm going to get into, there are two others I'm going to get into. One is DefTF, the DeFi Technologies, and this is crazy. So you were able to pick it up at 8 cents in September of 23. This is when I was buying YieldMax. Okay, 8 cents a share, and even now it's over $2 a share. That's an incredible return. That's an incredible return right there. That's like, what is that? It's like a 200, it's like a 25x. That's like a 25x right now, but it got up to 369, which is even better, like a 50x. It's close to a 50x, like 40 something x. Pretty crazy. So if you got some money in DefTF and you take profit along the way here, you can rotate into other assets that still haven't pumped yet, like Grayscale, right? Or the Bitcoin miners. You got options. So this is a front runner. I've got this on my list for next cycle, CYFRF. This is also in the crypto space. So this is crazy. Again, and there's no guarantee this will repeat next cycle. And I believe that what we've seen here with this is probably just the precursor to what we will see in the following months. I feel like this is going to run with the altcoins too. But if you got in at 10 cents, right now you're still sitting at a 13x, and it got up to 384, which is like a 38x, 35x. I mean, pretty crazy. So that's a good one. I want to take a look at the miners. So if we like, Marathon is a big miner, BTBT, take a look at CleanSpark. And so like this kind of kicked off, the run last time for Marathon kicked off end of December, really, of 2020. Well, I mean, this corresponded to Litecoin, and this is Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, Stellar Lumens, like the mid caps started to pop off here. And then by January 1st, it was altcoin season, man. So many altcoins kicked off. So in my opinion, like, Marathon is much more closely related to the altcoin market, not Bitcoin. Even though they're a Bitcoin miner, undoubtedly they mine other cryptos in addition to Bitcoin, but it's it's not It's not really tied to the price action of Bitcoin. So this other stuff that we've been seeing recently, a lot of people that are in the miners are very frustrated by them, the ups and downs, right? This is a crypto asset. This is like, this can make you want to throw up. You see a really nice gain and then a dump and then a gain and dump. It's like you're bipolar, you're schizophrenic, and you're just like, for anybody new to crypto, it's a tough road. But I don't care about this stuff because this is the rocky road that you can't see down here at the beginning of the chart prior to last run. This is also rocky right back here, but you don't see that. All you really focus on now is this big pump, this run. So all this stuff that we see right here, I think it's going to be look fairly small. 4 years from now, when we look back at this time frame, we're hardly even going to see these because I think the pump for Marathon is going to be pretty nice. Where's it going to go? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I think it's Marathon did really well. I think when I looked at this, you could almost do a 9x if you got in, if you rotated in right before it took off. So let's see, we're getting at like 540. Let's say $5 for some easy head math. And I mean, its peak $75. So if you're getting in at $5 and it goes up to 75, that's a 15x. But let's say you don't catch the high. Let's say you're catching like 40 to 45. That's still, I mean, you're looking at like an 8 to 9x of when you'd have pretty good time to get out. That's a really good return actually, and you can rotate to that. That's damn good. So it's a good option for rotation. And I'm not going to go to the other miners, but they look similar. Some of them ran later than the others, and I put this in Discord too, kind of like a timeline of what miners ran last cycle. If you want to rotate, I think it's a really good. Buttcoin just ripped. So is this Bitcoin or is this like the new fart coin? Because I feel like next cycle I should get in all these stupid ass meme coins. At least put a little bit in, because I think fart coin did really, really good. And if there's a Buttcoin out there, I want in. And if you're talking about Bitcoin, that is the butt coin. That is the butt of everyone's joke who doesn't get crypto. They called it crap way back in the day. I got to show you this. I'll just do this again because a lot of you probably weren't. Okay, so if you had put just $1,000 into Bitcoin back in 2010, just $1,000, you would have approximately like $1.6 billion right now. That's what it would be worth. Think about that. And people thought it was just like crap. So this what is this? Let me see. I'll turn. Come on, give it all. Go back here. I don't think this chart's gonna. Yeah. So back here, 2010. It's like 5 cents in the summer of 2010. So you bought $1,000 worth. You get 20,000 Bitcoin, which right now is worth like 1.6 billion or something. So pretty crazy. People like I think Warren Buffett said this. Maybe it was Bill Gates. I think it was Warren Buffett. Like he called Bitcoin and by extension all crypto rat poison squared. And I think it was one of them that said that Bitcoin and all of crypto by extension was like it's subscribed to like the greater fool theory. Like if I only buy crypto because I think there's somebody who's like, I'm an idiot for buying crypto, and I only buy it because I think there's an idiot that's going to be a bigger idiot than me that's going to buy it off of me. And I would agree, but I would also posture that applies to everything, to stocks too, like Coca-Cola, 3M, everything, because this is all made up funny money shit. Like, what is it really worth? Like, I'm sorry. Like, if I invest in Apple or Microsoft or Tesla, they don't pay me. They don't give me a fucking dividend. It's just this hypothetical valuation of their stock that is driven by market sentiment. And that is the sentiment of retail investors primarily, who think that numbers should go up. That the price of a given stock or trust or ETF, whatever, should go up. So that's why they buy into something. So I think we're all fools. We're all fools for investing but it's like, it's true. Like there's always like, I kind of joked about this, like other people that come FOMO in later will be our liquidity. And that's fine. That's just the way investing works. Because I provided the liquidity for somebody else who wanted to unload their shares of Grayscale, for example. every time you buy something, there has to be a seller. So I allowed somebody who wanted to exit their grayscale position in whole or part when I bought, and when it comes time for me to sell, there will be somebody who's willing to buy. Because even if there isn't at the moment at the current price, then the market price is going to drop, and it'll continue to drop until someone out there, somewhere in the world, is willing to pay for it and willing to buy my shares off me. Just same for you. Yeah, XDead said, "DefTF, man, we could have made a killing." You think about this shit. I mean, like, I'm like, oh my god. I found out about DefTF from Discord. Somebody was talking about DefTF that their positions were just doing really good, and so I looked at it and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I should have gotten into, if I would have known about this, I definitely could have gotten into this and MicroStrategy and CYFRF prior to grayscale. Like, hindsight is 2020. So I would much rather have put my investments, especially my IRAs, but even in my taxable accounts, into those assets first, taken profit, and then I could rotate into grayscale. Right? I mean, what a crazy, if you got a 20x or a 30x return out of like DefTF and MicroStrategy, and then you're able on top of that to do another 10 to 20x return. I mean, that's a 100 to a 600x return. I mean, without taxes, it's a lot. So DBN says, I have a large percentage. Why am I hidden by the comment? Says I have a large percentage of portfolio in BCHG, LTN, and ETCG. What catalyst will drive these trusts to a bull run? This is the magic question. So historically, so we don't know what, like, if there will be a specific catalyst, right? Something that specifically happens. We can correlate pumps or dumps sometimes to events in the world. Like, we had a very notable one. We had the COVID dump, right? Back in, I think, April or May of 2020, when a lot of things took a steep dive and Bitcoin tanked to like, I think it tanked to like $3,000. And these charts, I don't think capture that. So we're looking at Bitcoin. Let me just back up. I don't think this captured. I feel like for like an hour or like 15 minutes or something, it absolutely tanked because it was right here. It was, what is this day? March 13th. I feel like it dropped below that 5,500. I feel like it dropped to like 3,000 something. And this might not just be capturing, that granular of a detail. But anyway, it dropped. I mean, that's clearly COVID driven. When the news came out and said COVID's a big deal, clearly that was a catalyst for a drop. Just like we could say that the drop in the broader markets and the crypto market was the catalyst for that was the tariff stuff that's going on. Now, whether, like I've said this too, like whether the tariffs get resolved or not, it may not stop the bleeding. Things may go down from here. We might have like the fake outs where it looks like it's like a false recovery, and then things dump. That's my driveway alert. I got UPS or FedEx arriving. So that could be. So the catalyst that basically lights things off, I don't know if there will be one or if it'll just be like a general rotation principle. So generally in a bull run, money flows first in the crypto space from Bitcoin to Ethereum to the large caps or large mid caps like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Stellar, stuff like that. And then to the bulk of the altcoins, which now I think there are like millions of altcoins. And I only invest in things that are on like the top 400, all right? Because it's like I don't want to go into something super speculative with much of anything. But and sometimes you don't really see what kicks something off. Like examples of sometimes you don't know why. So like XRP is a good example, and so is XLM. No, not what am I looking at? X Raiders. I don't want that. I don't even know what that is. Probably a very speculative crypto. Okay, so let's take a look at Stellar. Like this, what was the precipitating event for that launch? I don't know. I don't think anybody. I didn't see any news about like this. Something was mentioned in the news or something happened that caused Stellar to do a 5.5 to 6x in the period of like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. But that's what it did. Same thing for XRP. I don't know. It's magic. It's fairy dust sprinkled down by the crypto gods. Honestly, because sometimes you just don't know like why something happened. The same thing happened to XRP, right? So XRP had the God candle right here, right? It did a similar move to XLM, going from let's just say 50 cents up to 270. So pulled more than a 5x in about 4 weeks. So in a 4 week time frame, XRP pulled a 5x or so. And I don't know. I mean, was there news related to XRP to kick this off? I don't think so. It's just like this is what happens in crypto sometimes. For whatever reason, things kick off, and because like let's say somebody who has a lot of money, or a bunch of people with a lot of money, like oil people in Saudi Arabia with billions of dollars at their disposal. Let's say they were in an investment of some kind. I don't know what, I don't even care. But they're like, hey, we're going to go into crypto and we're going to go heavy into XRP and heavy into XLM. And if they bought in big quantities, that basically provided pressure, upward pressure on the price. And that price increase created FOMO. Then more people wanted to pile in because they saw XRP and XLM taking off, and it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy that these things take off. So it's just, you never know what drives this. It could be news that affects us all. It could just be that somebody with a lot of funds pumped the price. Like I've gotten into some really small cryptos, and like if I try to buy like super small, very speculative, I wouldn't recommend this, but just because I was like, I want to gamble a little bit. So if I tried to put like $10,000 into something that was looking like complete trash, and I was like, well, it did pretty well last time. Like one of these was UBT. I actually exited my position, but I want to show you UBT, Unibright. I was actually had a good position in them in 2020. And I got out. So I bought in, I think I bought in Unibright like back here. So at like 9-10 cents. And it did really well, right? Got up to $3. That's over at 30x. And then it was sitting in the gutter right here. And I'm like, I'm going to go into Unibright. But the volume wasn't very big. And when you have low volumes, you get weird things that can happen. And I don't know if I can zoom in on this chart like I want to. I'm going to try. So you can get situations like this. Like when was this? So I'm trying to think like I bought like, I don't know, 10 grand or so of UBT. And I just remember when I did it, one of these things happened. Like one of these mini candles happened because the volume is pretty low. And so like me putting in 10 grand even was a pretty big deal. Like the volume, that has like no volume. Like the market cap of this crypto is under 2 million. That is the total market cap. So putting $10,000 in to UBT can spike the price. And so that, it's an example, a small example of how somebody wanting to put a lot of money into something can spike the price for a short period of time. And then unless other people want to come in and buy more and support the price, it's going to collapse again, either quickly or gradually. Okay, do you think this Trump tariff movement has put a major hold on any bull run plans? Maybe, but if things were delayed, I was expecting, a lot of people were expecting that, we'd have a kickoff of the altcoin market as a whole in January, and that Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash would precede those, and they did. So I don't know. I don't know what, like, whatever is out there, if it's related to like market and economic uncertainty, it could be causing this. I don't know. I don't know what's causing a delay, because it is delayed. Anybody in crypto who's been through at least one other cycle knows it's delayed. So I don't know. I don't know how long it's gonna take. Ethan, if I held LTC and BCSG for the past year, you would be down 8. Damn, you are. So it's like, it's been a while since I showed my portfolio, and people are like, I'm down. I'm like, I know, man, I know. My Fidelity account is down like close to 85%, exactly what you're saying. So like my Fidelity account, and this is like, it hurts when you lose money. but I've lost more money on paper in the past year than I probably have ever made. Like my Fidelity account, which is where most of my stuff is. March of last year was sitting over $100 million. 106, I think, is where it was sitting. And now I haven't looked at it today, but like in the past couple of days, it was down to like 16 million. So you do the math on that, and that's like a loss of $90 million. A lot of I don't even care. Like I don't even care. Most people would freak out. I don't care because I look at that and I go, that the price that or the value of my portfolio in March is nothing compared to what I think it's going to be worth in the bull run. Because this right here for BCHG, let me just make this a fuller screen so you can see what's going on. This right here is what we hit for a height in BCHG, right? But it's still lower than what we hit last cycle. And I think as many people said, and they think Bitcoin Cash, it didn't have a phenomenal bull run last year or last cycle because of a lot of different factors related to Bitcoin Cash. So we're expecting, hoping for, praying for even better returns this year. So this, like the run up in March, the thing is, I can easily say now, well, I should have, like in my IRA where it's tax-free trading, I should have taken profit here. But the thing is, I didn't know. Nobody, you can't tell, like just because a past crypto cycles have happened in a certain way doesn't mean things can't be different. Like there's nothing that I mean, somebody could easily have made an argument when we were back at last March, like, hey, the crypto market has been escalated. It's launch time now. You guys were thinking it was going to be in the fall. It's launching in the spring. And so it would be stupid of me at that time to make an assumption that it's going to correct because it could have been launch time. And I don't want to sell my shares off right before the rocket launch. So, I mean, so it'll get back there. I have no worries, but it just shows you like, yeah, I mean, percentage wise, everyone, if you've got the same holdings, got in at the same time, have the same cost basis, you suffer the same percentage wise. But I mean, I feel it. Like, again, down 90 million in Fidelity. No joke. That's real money. It's fake money kind of because I didn't cash out, so it's fake. Everything's fake anyway. It doesn't matter. Everything is fake. Fiat is fake. Yeah. So, and I'm quoting Peter Schiff. So was Peter the one that said the greater fool theory? Maybe that's not Warren Buffett. It could be. Peter Schiff doesn't like Bitcoin either. He shills gold. I think gold is a good investment. It just doesn't perform as well as crypto. Ryan says, Ethan is dropping truth bombs and fact traps today. That's right. NDA is another good one. I haven't looked at that one. What is that? Neptune Digital. Is this a Bitcoin miner? I gotta write this down. Because this is, damn, that's good. How to crypto. Like, awesome suggestion. I don't know. I have to do research on what this is. Neptune Digital. And I'm seriously gonna write this down because this is gonna go on my list of assets to investigate to get into next bear market. What did this bad boy do off the bear market? So let's see. Let's see, we're getting in 30 cents, right? 30 cents here. Well, here it's saying 30 cents CAD. So is this a Canadian? Yeah, it looks like a Canadian thing. Is this even tradable in the US? Hopefully. It might be listed as a penny stock. I know, let me just open up another one really quick. Another one, a miner that I might go into, they're not technically a miner, is Canaan. Canaan is, they don't actually they're not a Bitcoin miner, but they produce mining equipment. So they had a nice pump. This is a penny stock. You have to enable penny stock trading in Fidelity, at least if you want to buy into this. But if you were to have rotated in there, let's say let's just say $5 or so. I mean, at its height, it reached almost 35, so that's like a 7x. And it ran later than some other things. Like, so this was, it launched at the end of January. So if you were in a lot of altcoins, for example, and you'd gotten like a 3x, 5x, 10x fairly quickly, you could have stuck some money in Canaan. Nobody knows though, like what a given stock or trust or crypto is going to do or when it's going to kick off. You just don't know. But NDA, I'm going to put on my list because this is this could be a front runner. Last cycle two went from 12 cents if you got in up to $1.08. So like a 12, 13x if you were to cash a month period where you got some really nice prices there last cycle. So yeah, that's awesome. That's how to crypto. That's awesome. Thank you for that suggestion. So everybody make a mental note of that. Yeah. FW says took some profits in GXLM and look to get back in maybe this summer. Yeah, I don't know when XLM is going to rocket. I got 10 more minutes and then I'm going to bail here. I have a bag of 56 shares to sell to a sucker. Yes, I mean a very large buyer for $200. A very lucky buyer. I know, right? Somebody would be. You know, the thing is, it's you never know. Like when you sell, if you think you might be thinking you're getting a really good price for something, and as long as you're happy with the price, the profit you're getting, who cares if somebody can make more with it? If they can't, they can't. We've all. I think everybody here probably has lost money in some kind of investment. I have. You know, it's just the way it is. Brandon likes the lives. I like the lives too. I like the chat. Paul says May 1st blast off. Maybe it'll be May the 4th. Like May the 4th be with you. We need the force of and the goodwill of the crypto gods to kick things off. Brandon says I was up 50% on MSTU yesterday. That's my baby right now. So MSTU, if you don't know what it is, so when I say like I'm probably going to go in MicroStrategy next cycle. I am, but I'll probably stick some in MSTR, but some in MSTU. So MSTU, if you're not familiar with it, it's a 2x long MicroStrategy. Now, when they say they're 2x long, what that means is they're trying to get you twice the profits that MicroStrategy, the corresponding stock would get, but they often don't meet the target, so don't be disappointed. I've looked at like what they actually get, like not necessarily this one but other ones that are like 2x or 1.5x leveraged ETFs, and they oftentimes underperform. That's okay. If something says it's a 2x leveraged like MicroStrategy, I'm like, yeah, thanks for saying that, but I'm probably gonna count on you being like a 1.5x. And if it gets that, awesome, because MicroStrategy did really well. However, just to be noted too, I'll talk about this probably at a different point, but when you were in a leveraged ETF like this, you get punished. And I haven't done the calculations on this. So if you're in a 2x long MicroStrategy like MSTU, you might get 2x on the upside if you're lucky, but probably not. But I'm guessing, I'm just going to count on the fact that I'm going to get punished twice as hard on the way down because it magnifies your gains and your losses. So, and crypto's all over the place. So if you're in it at the wrong time, you can get punished. You can get really punished with it. And this it only came out last September, so it hasn't been around a whole long time. But like if you look at, let's take a look at this here, and I'm going to have to end this screen. So this is November 1st. We went from 670 to November. So we did like a 3x in the first 3 weeks in November, like approximately a 3x. So let's go back and take a look at MSTR and see if we can just type. Let's find this. On the same time period, let's look at, we can do this. So it was from the beginning of November. So we did a 3x in MSTU, right? So this is probably where it corresponds, 222 up to 473. So that's like we did about a little over a 2x. We did a little over a 2x in MSTR, and we did, what did I say, a 3x? Went from 670. So we did just over a 3x. So this is where you can see it's not really a 2x. Like if you buy in, because if it were a 2x, you would have gotten like a 4 point something x, right? But you still got a 3.7x, which is damn good. So that's why I'm like, well, maybe you're gonna get like a 1.5x out of there. I have not done calculations. Like, do you truly get punished 2x on the downside? Or is it maybe you get punished up to 2x on the downside? I don't know. I haven't looked at that, but there is risk in these leverage funds because you do get punished more on the downside too, so you got to be careful. Ace Austin, I agree with you, Ethan. Hopefully, I don't know what you said that in relation to what I said, but okay, sounds good. How to Crypto says SpaceX, so I think that was in relation to NDA that you were talking about. Definitely going to check that out. Canadian, yeah. Peter is the one, yeah. So it's like the Peter Schiff is the one that was calling or saying that the crypto Bitcoin was like it's subscribed to like the greater fool theory. And I think it was Warren Buffett that said that Bitcoin and by extension all crypto is rat poison squared. So as I said last night, they are poisoning all of us with rat poison in our drinking water because that's what fluoride is. Sodium fluoride is used in rat poison, and they're sticking it in the municipal drinking water of most all cities. So there you go. All right, I'm gonna take off here. I got stuff to do. You guys have stuff to do too. Hope you guys are doing well. I might do something this weekend. Might not be till next week. You might not see me. So I wish you guys the best of luck and everything. If you see nice dips and you got cash on hand, it might be a good idea to get in. Not financial advice as always, but that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of dumb money. Like I know that I wanted to get into like native crypto, like XLM. And Toshi a little bit, and Cookie DAO. Those are the three I've been focusing on, but I've been putting most of it into Stellar because that's like the OG, well known. It's like if I get a 10x out of there, I'll be thrilled. If I get a 5x, I'll be very happy. And so I've been just DCAing every single day, like over the course of like probably about a month and a half. Every single day, I will buy an equal amount essentially of XLM, and on days when we're down, I will buy more than on days when we're up. So especially when things are at discount. So I was a little disappointed this morning when I looked at my wallet and I'm like, oh, damn it. Stellar is up. Like, what is Stellar up today? Because I was like, shit, I should have bought more yesterday. What is Stellar up? I was truly disappointed. This is where like, if you are looking to buy, you really are hoping for lower prices. Oh, now Stellar's down. Okay, so it was up. So I love this. This is like if you don't like what's happening in the crypto, either way, up or down, just wait a couple hours or a couple days because the opportunity is going to come. So now, at least in the 24 hours, let me see what's happening with the price action of Stellar here. So it's down from what it was an hour ago. I think this is what this is showing me. Down from an hour ago. I should have bought the dip, put way more in yesterday. It dipped to like 20 cents. And I can't complain right now. It's sitting at 23. I'm just saying it's like, I'd much rather buy it at 20 cents versus 23. But hindsight is 2020. I should have bought more at 9, 10 cents a couple months back. But here we are. All right. Peace out, guys. Take care. I'll see you guys soon.